Okay, lesson 84, we're doing decimal numbers to the thousands. So we've done tenths, hundredths, and now we're doing thousands. So this says in investigation 4, practice writing fractions with a denominator of 10 as a decimal numbers with one decimal place. So 7 tenths equals 0.7 or 7 or well, that's 0.7. Both the numbers are 7 tenths, so these are the same thing. We also wrote fractions with the denominator of 100 as decimal numbers with two decimal places. So 12 hundredths would be written like that, 0.12, or 0 and 12 hundredths, but it's both 12 hundredths. Now we will write the fractions with the denominator of 1000 as decimal numbers with three decimal places. So 125 thousandths, and it's the same thing, 1.125, which is 125 thousandths, because this place value now is the thousandths. So we have tenths, hundredths, thousandths. All right. And then this one, we have 25 thousandths, and then we would write it like that with the 0.025. We still have to, it's kind of like however many zeros are in it, that's where your number goes. So there's 3 zeros, so you have to put your number in those 3 places. And you're always going to line up this last number with the last place value. That's kind of how that goes. So like this, we got 3 numbers, and we just take these 3 numbers and put them over there. Same here, we got 2 zeros. We take those 2 numbers, put them there. This one, we got 1 0. We put that over there for like the 1 0 or the 10th place value. So this says to write, actually, let's see. I'm gonna move it, but I will read it and you should have it out. It's on page 539. So it says write 375 thousandths as a decimal number. Then use words to name both numbers. So, just like I said, we take the zeros and we put these numbers in those 0 points. And this number starts us off. So we'll put, I'm going to do it a little backwards, 5, 7, 3. So there's our zeros. And then we put our decimal. So we got 375, put our decimal right there at the beginning. And that is the same 375 thousandths, and that is the decimal form. And then to write it as words, we'd say 375 thousandths. So we have, 300, 75 thousandths with that TH. And that is how you write that. Remember, we put a hyphen for like a 2-digit number. And there's no commas because we don't have any commas in it when we write it out. So we only put commas when we write it out, and we don't put and because that is just for things in the place value on the left side of a decimal. It says working in the reverse, so reverse means backwards. We see that the decimal number with 3 decimal places may be written as a fraction with a denominator of 1,000. So if we were given 0.375, we could write that as this fraction. So example 2 says to write each decimal number as a fraction or a mixed number, then use words to name the numbers. So A, we have 0.625, which we have these zeros, so we're just going to put those right above it. So we put 625 over, we have our zeros, 1,000. So I have 625 1,000ths. So I'm just going to write down those words. 600 hyphen 5 thousandths. THS at the end, because everything to the right of the decimal ends in the THS. And B has a lovely mixed number of 3.125. So again, we put these numbers on top. Oh, whoops, sorry. 125 over 1,000. And now this 3 would be in front. So it's 3 and 125 thousandths. And you know what, I'm going to move that. 3 and 125 thousandths. So to write that, we'd write 3, and then remember that decimal point, or if it's the big number, it's and. So 3 and 120 hyphen 5 thousandths. And that is how we write these things. Okie dokie, let's go on to lesson practice. Well, and it also says explain why 625 thousandths is greater than 325 thousandths. Now, I always put the towel under my book and then forget it. So we have on that example, it says to explain why 625 thousandths is greater than 325 thousandths. So why is this, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and erase this and rewrite it with more space. So 625 is greater than 325 thousandths. And let me just check and make sure I am doing that correctly. Alright, so yeah, so it's greater because this number on top is bigger than that number. When the bottoms are the same, you're looking for the one that's a bigger number. If the bottoms are different, you're not gonna just look at the top number. But when the bottoms are the same, you can look at the top number, and that is why it is greater. Okay, I'm gonna do examples A and D, and then I will look at the other ones. So first, A says to write each fraction or mixed number as a decimal. So A, we have 425 thousandths, and it says to write that as a decimal. So we're just going to take those three numbers and put them on the right side of the decimal. So we have our decimal 0.425, and that's all you got to do. So you just kind of move the decimal over there is all that you do. So you got 1, 2, 3 place values, and you just move the decimal all the way over for that. Oh no, I'm doing D. D is 2 and 7 thousandths. So again, or this one's a little bit different, but we first start with the 2 on the outside, and then the 7. Now these ones have all had 3 digits. This one only has 1 digit, but there's 3 spaces we need to fill. Now we gotta start, we put this number all the way on the end here, and that's where it goes. So we do 7, and then we put in those 2 zeros. So we have 2.007, which is 2 and 7 thousandths, because the 7 is in the thousandths place value. Because here's our place value. We have our ones, our tenths, and I'm not going to fit it, hundreds, and I'll do thousand, oh, just barely. And those are our place values. So if it's 2 and 7 thousandths, the 2's in the ones, and you got to put that 7 in that thousandths place value, because 2 and 7 thousandths. So always put the top, you got to kind of line up your numbers. The 1 place value, so this is in our ones place value, it goes in the first 0. This would be our ones place value, it goes in the 0. So you gotta, I know that might not make so much sense at the moment, but we'll keep working on it and hopefully make it make sense. So it always has to start over here. The far right number has to always go to the far right decimal place. Alright, and then the next letter, say write each decimal number as a fraction or a mixed number, then use words to name the numbers. So I will do G and J. So G is 0.025. So we have to write this as a fraction. So we're just going to take these numbers, put them, oops, that's the wrong number, put them on top. And how many place values is it? It's tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So we put that thousandths on the bottom. And to write that out, it's 25 thousandths. So I'd write 25, oops, thousandths. And that's how you write that. And letter J is 9.999. So 9 and 999 thousandths. So this number out front, that goes on the outside of our fraction. And this number here goes on top, so 999. And then how many place values is it? It is tenths, hundredths, thousandths, and that thousand goes down there on the bottom. So we have 9 and 999 thousandths. And I'm going to write it down here. 9 and, that's how I write my and sign, 900, 90 hyphen 9 thousand. Ta-da. Alright. So, if it helps you guys to draw, let's see, well, this on your paper, so if it helps you, I'm going to do what I have had on the wall from before. I'm going to use this one. I don't know if you can see it so well. Alright, so we have our ones decimal, then we have our tenths, hundredths, oops, hundredths, and then we have our thousandths, oops, and then in fractions, our big number here is our ones, or if you have your ones and tens, it's whatever's before the decimal. Actually, you know what, I'll keep that over here. It's our ones, and then the top is the number. So this number is the top. The place value, so the specific, however far it goes, is the bottom. So if we had a number like, let's say I had, oopsie, you can't see that so well. If I had 1, 2, 3, 4, I would take this ones, because that's our big number, 1, and then whatever this whole number is, 234, goes on top. What place value is it? It's in the thousandths place value, or what place value does it go until? The thousandths place value. So 1,000 goes on bottom. Hopefully that makes it make sense. Let me know if you have any questions about this, and stay tuned for homework.